whatever happened in Nepal, it was not overnight, rather, it was a gradual build up.
The generation that organized the protest initially. They were frustrated with the governance. They were frustrated with whatsoever happening was happening around them, and it was boiling for a long time. Explosive material it was mixing. It just needed the trigger, and the trigger was became this the banning of social media because they were so much dependent on social media.
How were they able to pull this off? I mean, how were they so harmonious?
They became united by that shared experience of frustration over nothing happening, over the difficulties that they face. They moved the discussion to the Discord where they could actually talk in real time with each other. So we are going to have an election on March 5th, 2026. Currently, Nepal is calm. You will hardly notice that anything that chaotic happened, where 74 people lost their lives. There are some very strong demands from the demonstrates the Gen Z generation, Gen Zs regarding the powerful commission to investigate everyone who has been in power for last 30 years or so. There is this huge demand for those people who are residing outside the country to have these voting rights.
Did it benefit India in any way, whatever happened in Nepal?
No country use Nepal as a playground against any other countries, and that includes China, India, or any other country. So I don't think that any government in Nepal will like to uh, become a kind of ally to one country against uh, in employing against any other countries in the region, culturally and in many other way seem to be more nearer to India. We have always promoted the non-alignment even within the region.
What do you think? How can people to people ties and exchanges between Pakistan and Nepal be enhanced?
Every week we used to watch a Pakistani terrestrial in our national television. They were hugely popular. And not only popular, they also made us aware of the Pakistani society, Pakistani people. Nepal is a very an upcoming nation in cricket. Pakistan is a old superpower in cricket. Our boundaries is not share, and we are actually divided by a country which actually probably do not allow us to do the businesses.
Hello and welcome to WNN Podcast. I'm your host Zaryun Pervez, and today we are going to discuss the evolving situation in Nepal. What happened, how it unfolded. We'll look into all the details. Today we have with us Mr. Ujjwal Acharya, who's a media expert, journalist, and researcher. He has over 20 years of experience and had roles in various publications. Sir, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to the show. So, my first question to you is I was recently studying your article where you mentioned that this was not overnight. Whatever happened in Nepal, it was not overnight, rather, it was a gradual build up. So, sir, what are the major factors that led to this change?
Okay, thank you for inviting me to your show. Thank you very much. As you said, that this is, although it looked like a two-day demonstration and everything that had happened overnight in a couple of days, it's actually there was this huge build-up for this for a long time. Basically, the generation that organized the protest initially. They were frustrated with the governance. They were frustrated with whatsoever happening was happening around them, and it was boiling for a long time. It's not that it happened all of a sudden over as a reaction to some of the event, but it was there for a long time. It was boiling under the surface. But the trigger that actually brought this to the surface, this dissatisfaction, this frustration among the youth to the surface, is the banning of the social media sites, 26 social media sites that brought it about to the surface. But the youth who actually protested, the generation who actually protested, uh, whom we popularly call the Gen Zs, right? They were frustrated because of the misgovernance, because of the corruption, because of the hassle that they face every day when they try to start some business or some kind of startup entrepreneurship. They were also frustrated with the low quality of the education that is available in Nepal, the decreasing of the employment opportunity within the country, and also by the political games that was always portrayed in a negative sense to a lot of them by in a way that the youth politicians or those who have the vision for the country were not allowed to come into the power, uh, largely through some of them through the political political in some way political propaganda by some of the opposition or some of the independent candidates, in some way by the social media influencers. So it's not although the actual action happened in 2 days, it there was a huge build up for it.
All right, sir. Let's talk about there's a long history of protests and uprisings even against monarchies in Nepal. You rightly mentioned that due to economic depravity, limited economic opportunities for youngsters, and to some extent political propaganda as well, these factors basically fueled the movement. Do you think is there anything else that led to this movement that played a vital or important role in this movement?
I think the one of the biggest factor that actually encouraged the Gen Zs to organize these protests, these demonstrations initially is in a way the othering of these Gen Z by the political and social leadership. These Gen Z generations were othered in a way that they were criticized for not being able to contribute to the political and social discourses. They were criticized for not being too concerned about what going in the country, in the politics. So, and they were also criticized for spending too much time on the internet. That criticism within the political and social leadership of Nepal actually othered them in a way that they were pushed to do something for the country. There were this feeling among them that they are also the concerned citizen of the country, and they need to do something to show to kind of establish their identity, the Gen Z identity as the group of people who are not avoiding politics or who are not avoiding social happenings, but rather they were concerned citizen of the country as concerned as anybody else. So this othering has to do a little bit with these protests. But as I said earlier, uh, in last few years, a lot of these youth they have turned into something called something I would like to say the startup entrepreneurship, which is like a lot of these youth are trying to establish some kind of businesses from let's say from a very small businesses in IT to in creating shops or tea shops, even that small businesses, and they were using the social media to promote these businesses. Uh, in some way, a lot of those businesses were also dependent on the social media channels. So, but while doing so, they were frustrated by the cumbersome procedures that is required for them to register these businesses, even to pay the tax. It's not easy to you have to renew those businesses every year. You have to do a lot of preparation. You have to go. round to at least 3 or 4 offices just to submit these documents, and it takes days just to pay a little bit of tax and just to renew the business that you are doing, no matter how small they are. And obviously they were frustrated with the time and the procedure delays that is taken to do all these things. So it's basically mixing of everything. The kind of like lowly explosive material it was mixing. It just needed the trigger, and the trigger was became this the banning of social media, because they were so much dependent on social media, not only to receive the news, not only to communicate with their friends, not only to have this feeling of being in a community, online communities, but their business were also dependent upon those social media.
A very interesting discussion. Let me ask you about the organizers. How were they able to pull this off? I mean, how were they so harmonious? Even your expatriates, the youngsters who have left Nepal and are living in foreign countries, they also took part in discussions in election of the caretaker prime minister as well. So please tell us, how were the organizers so harmonious and how were they directed at their goal?
I think the first you have to look at how this happened, how this was organized. The first thing that, as I said, like there were a lot of frustration, a lot of bad experience with the people. So when they started discussing, sharing these experiences over Reddit, right, one of the social media platform, Reddit, where they started sharing these experiences, and there they found out that it's not a unique experience that they have had, but it's a shared experience between them. So when they said it and they found out that it's widespread, the corruption is widespread, that nothing happening is quite widespread, the difficulty is widespread, and every youth in one way or other has experienced that kind of system. They became united by that shared experience of frustration over nothing happening, over the difficulties that they face when they needed some documents, when they needed some registration, when they needed some letter from the government, like no objection letter to go to the for the study. And these all they when they have this shared experience, they kind of started discussing we need to do something. So how they do it? From the Reddit, they moved the discussion to the Discord, where they could actually talk in real time with each other, uh, regardless of the distance or regardless of where they are living. So they use this social media channel to reduce this distance between them, to be able to discuss in real time, to be able to hear the voices of the of people of their generation who were not with them. And they were able to organize it in a harmonious way, because this is on Discord channels. They kind of planned everything, and they delegated responsibilities based on where they are living, right? So if the responsibilities are somehow, let's say there were a small group of people who went into Kathmandu district administration office to get the permission for the demonstration. It were the group of people who were living in Kathmandu. Then there were a group who were living outside Nepal, who supported by designing the banners, by designing the placards, and also by promoting these events in other social media channels, especially Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So it basically uh, have a small group of people who delegated power to each other in a way that they were able to do it, and they have this real-time discussion platform where they could do it regularly to kind of share what is happening. And then they also leveraged other social media channels to promote their demonstration, to invite people to come, to invite people to join, and to promote their agenda of anti-corruption. So the shared experience on Reddit, real-time discussion on Discord, and use of other social media platform to promote this demonstration they're organizing. they were able to do it in a harmonious way.
All right, sir, let's talk about the current situation in Nepal. An interim government is selected or elected by Gen Zs over social media. Are there going to be any elections? What is the situation of Nepal? Is there stability? Are there any ongoing protests or any demonstrations? Please.
Yes, the next election is planned on March 5. So the date was already announced on the day that the new prime minister was appointed because he was mandated, given the mandate of holding this election in 6 months. So we are going to have an election on March 5th, 2026, if everything goes in a right way. Uh, Currently, Nepal is calm. After it doesn't look like we had, if we don't look at the building that was burned down during the chaotic 2 days, you will hardly notice that anything that chaotic happened, where 74 people lost their lives just a week ago. It seems very calm right now, but still within that calmness, there are still a lot of confusion of what's going to happen next, how it is all going to build up because there are some very strong demands from the demonstrators, the Gen Z generation, Gen Zs, especially regarding the powerful commission to investigate everyone who has been in power for last 30 years or so. So this is a very strong step that the government need to take to ensure that this demand is fulfilled. And obviously, there are a lot of groups who are claiming to be the organizers of Gen Z. We don't know whether what they're part of because it was a leaderless demonstration that was organized. Although there was a lot of things that went harmonious, there were a lot of things that were out of order. So we don't know who is pushing what agenda there. So, but there are also some political agenda within these social media channels right now, where some people are even demanding or directly elected head of the government. Some people are already asking for the change in the political parties, but how that will be forced, how is there a legal way to do it? It's a very difficult thing, and also that then there is this huge demand for those people who are residing outside the country to have these voting rights because our Court has also previously issued a directive to the government to ensure that they have the voting rights. And one of the prime demand of these Gen Z demonstration is to have people who are living outside Nepal to have a say on the election. So the government has said they will bring in an ordinance to ensure that, but how that will be implemented is still to see because the ballot voting or online voting is not a thing that Nepal had experienced in the past. And given the situation in Nepal, the situation of literacy and everything in Nepal, how these ballot votes or the online votes will flare is a big matter. So although right now it looks calm, it looks like we are heading to an election for March 5, which I believe will happen. There still is a lot of things that is not very clear.
Sir, now let's talk about some international or geopolitical factors if there are any. We've seen concerning statements from European Union, the USA, India, and China as well. Sir, given your history with India, do you think that it was beneficial for India, or did it benefit India in any way, whatever happened in Nepal?
It depends upon how you look at the things. Basically, being Nepal being in the middle of two big neighbors, India and China, I think the best possible way, the best possible scenario for Nepal is to have a kind of a balanced relationship between India and China, having both of these countries in confidence that Nepal will not be used against each other, or Nepal will not become a playground against either of them, and both of them will. can benefit with a good relationship with Nepal in a good way. So if we can ensure that it is the best scenario for Nepal. However, there are a lot of geopolitical things that goes on, right? So it's not that easy. It's easy to say, but it's hard to be done. So I think the way that Nepal is dependent on India, on business, on imports, on even culturally, it's uh, it's uh, it's difficult for Nepal to do good without the support of India, right? So we basically need to have a kind of good relation with India to ensure that our everyday life is smooth because we are also very culturally bound. There is a lot of cross-border marriages, a lot of cross-border families. Although it's two countries divided by a physical boundary, the boundary the family there is no community boundary there, right? So it's almost like one community living in two countries, especially to those people in the near around the boundary. So I think it's always good to have a good relationship with India, and it's also important for Nepal that the India is on a positive side to for us to do things in a right way. So in that regard, I think our government should be looking at India more in a friendly gesture than in any other gesture.
All right. So we recently had a clash with India, and there are tensions between India and China as well. India is a member of Quad, which is a four-country alliance to counter China in the South China Sea. Nepal is a landlocked country, and you share borders with India and China as well. Given the recent or past behavior of India, if there is any interference or any aggression from India towards Nepal, what would be the response of your government to any Indian interference or aggression?
No, I think Nepal still want to remain, as I said earlier, it want to remain not a playground for any country against any other countries. We want a good friendly relationship with all. We want to be friends with all, and we want to ensure that no country use Nepal as a playground against any other countries, and that includes China, India, or any other countries in a global scenario or within the region. So I think Nepal government at some point there are some political misunderstanding or political ambitions or political games played by some of the leaders where it seemed that Nepal government is moving a little bit deviated from this position. But I think overall the our foreign policy or our overall thought the people's willingness has been always been to remain in that position. It hasn't deviated at all. So I don't think any government in Nepal will like to uh, become a kind of ally to one country against uh, in employing against any other countries in the region.
What do you think are the future prospects of bilateral ties or engagements between Pakistan and Nepal? I mean, we have seen in the recent past that your ministers and prime ministers they had close relations with China and India as well. So, is there an opportunity since there are new people, a new system, new government, new regime? So, is there any possibility of future prospects or engagements between Pakistan and Nepal, and then Nepal, China, and Nepal, India?
So, in terms of the neighbors, including Pakistan, which is in South Asia, we share the same subcontinent. Nepal always wanted to have a friendly relationship in an equidistance manner. Although we are, as I said earlier, we are culturally and in many other way seem to be more nearer through India. We have always promoted the non-alignment even within the region. So I think the Nepal still want to remain that way. We don't want to be in a position where we need to support either of the countries within the region. So our government actually had never intervened, with the exception of the government that was just toppled. They had issued a statement during this India-Pakistan conflict, recent conflict. Otherwise, we have always maintained the equidistance and always maintained a kind of non-aligned stance with all our neighbors. And for us, Nepalese culturally and in many other ways, we think that Nepal, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the South Asian nation, including Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, we all are. We all should be in a friendly manners, and we all should be united for our economic development and other way. So I think Nepal still want to remain in that way, keeping equidistance with all and having a good bilateral relationship with all, including.
All right. So my last question to you is, what do you think? How can people-to-people ties and exchanges between Pakistan and Nepal be enhanced? In what areas, avenues we can cooperate with each other, be it defense or economic opportunities or industrial growth? How do you think we can improve our bilateral relations?
I think the most important thing that we could do is, which was in the past it happened a bit, but now that has stopped, is something that was called the cultural exchange, right? So we there were every week we used to watch a Pakistani traditional in our national television. They were hugely popular, and not only popular, they also made us aware of the Pakistani society, Pakistani people, Pakistani the Urdu language. Although we kind of many of us kind of thought that was still Hindi, but it actually introduced us to Pakistan a lot. So I think this cultural exchange between Nepal and Pakistan is very important. The people to people level cultural exchange, and there are areas where Pakistan can uh, support Nepal in developing. Let's say for the very basic thing is cricket, right? Nepal is a very an upcoming nation in cricket. Pakistan is a world superpower in cricket. So there are things that Pakistan can do to help Nepal cricket. They have done some in the past as well, and this will actually help to increase the friendly bonds and a kind of a community feeling between Nepali and Pakistani people. Because although you speak Urdu, we speak Nepali, we do understand if we go in the middle in something that sounds like Hindi and mix of Urdu, right? So there is less language barrier, and these cultural exchanges are very important, especially in the case where our boundaries is not shared and we are actually divided by a country which actually probably do not allow us to do the businesses, bilateral business in an easy way, because of the Pakistan relationship with India. So I think this people to people exchanges in culture, in sports, is very important for building the relationship.
So we talked to Ujjwal Acharya, a Nepal-based journalist. He explained how the movement turned out in Nepal, what was the role of social media and economic depravity that led to this mass movement. And we also talked about future prospects of bilateral relations between Pakistan and Nepal. That's it for today. See you next time. Allah Hafiz.